Yo, so guys, welcome back to another reaction, and this is a video reacting to Lost in the Pond. It's been a few, I think about 1 or 2 weeks now. So, I mean, I thought it was a good time to bring a reaction back, and this one is how America makes Britain look like a tiny village. I guess this is going to go into things like land size and stuff. I mean, that's what I'm assuming from the title. It would make sense, but we're going to check it out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Instagram, my Twitter for those who want to follow me, same for my Patreon for those who want to see other reactions, and same for my new channel that I've made recently. Links are all there. But let's jump into this.
874 square miles is larger than not just London, but half of the English counties. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to size. They say that size doesn't matter, but have they looked at a map recently? Because it does matter when you move from Britain to the United States of America. You see, somebody once said that the biggest difference between Britain and America is that Americans think that 100 years is a long time and that the British think that 100 miles is a long way. And I definitely used to think like this. For instance, I used to think that travelling from my hometown of Grimsby to the city of Manchester was a long way, even though...
Is this where Grimsby is? I didn't even know that. But yeah, I live like just below this area here, and me travelling to Nottingham would be a very long journey for me, but in the US that would be like a really short journey, I guess.
No,
like,
it was
it's
only
wild how it
100
contrasts.
miles. But after moving to the United States, where long-distance commutes and cross-country road trips are not that unusual, I soon realised that Americans viewed 100 miles as no biggie. And as somebody who now fairly frequently does the commute from Chicago to Indianapolis, I have fallen in line with my American comrades. But just in case you don't believe me, or in case you're one of those British people that I often hear about, that comes to the United States and expects to see New York City, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and the Grand Canyon all in one weekend, then allow me to present to you some maps. Some maps that highlight the scale of the United States in all its glory. Let's take a look. Firstly, let's take a look at the United States as a whole. If we include land and water, which we will be doing throughout this video, the United States has a total area of about 3.8 million square miles. In that respect, it could contain 40 not just Britons, but UKs. And for clarification, the UK is Britain plus Northern Ireland. The biggest country within the United Kingdom is my home country, England. And you've almost certainly heard that the United States has an entire region named after it. Let's have a look at how they compare. As the United States goes, New England is a relatively small area of land comprising 6 states: Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. And despite the fact that 5 of those states feature in a list of the 7 smallest, the New England states combined are almost 22,000 square miles bigger than England. In fact,
we're the flipping old England, man. This is the New England, bro. This is bigger than our England.
And Northern Ireland and New England would still come out on top. But even when you add in Scotland, there are certain other states that are bigger than the entire United Kingdom. Now,
11.
long ago, I made a video on the
Texas,
11, yes, 11 states that are larger than the UK. But this video was mostly crap, and the chief complaint about it was that I didn't show any maps, so you just had to imagine it. Well, to show that I've grown as a YouTuber, and to visually put these 11 states into a UK context, I've put together a graphic. Have you ever seen those videos that compare the size of the Earth to the size of the sun?
I love this video
and then the sun to the next biggest star, and the next biggest star to the next biggest star, and so on. Well, I thought it would be fun to do the same thing with the UK and its 11 American overlords. So here are 11 US states with a total area, that's land and water, that's larger than the UK.
Oh, he did. So Michigan, Wyoming, Oregon. It's so funny how Wyoming is so square and so is Colorado, just so perfectly square. Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana. Here comes the big boy. Yeah, Alaska's just levels, bro. That's insane. The UK. Yeah, that's insane, man.
Now, if this were a game of top trumps, the United States would be winning by a country mile. Sorry. So before we continue, I am going to throw in a fun fact that allows the UK a moment of glory. The most number of US states that you could collectively fit into the entire UK is 10. Now, admittedly, it is the smallest 10, and those are West Virginia,
That's still quite
Maryland,
crazy to me.
Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Hawaii, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island. But one thing that you might notice about all of those, with the exception of Hawaii, is that they are east of the Mississippi River. But once you go west, things become so big that your eyes fall off. And something that really seems to get bigger out west are
Counties larger
You may
than
remember
Wales?
Last year I did a video on the differences between British and American counties, and one of those differences was size. For context, I want you to keep in mind that the largest county in the UK is North Yorkshire. This clocks in at roughly 3,341 square miles. So it is itself more than half the size of Northern
even know Yorkshire
Ireland.
went that high.
Well, at this point in the video, it won't surprise you to hear that the United States has well over 100 counties larger than that, and the vast majority of them are out west. Now, if we allow for county equivalents like boroughs and census areas, Alaska has 2 county equivalents that are not just larger than North Yorkshire, but the entire United Kingdom. Alaska, you are massive and you need to be stopped.
I wonder the populations in those Alaskan counties.
And you might say, well, Alaska's almost too massive, so this is just cheating. And it is true, Alaska is like the Galactus of American states. We should start calling it Galaska. But even if you drop down into the lower 48 contiguous states, there are some counties that are so big that they make certain countries look like quaint villages. Take, for example, the largest in the lower 48, San Bernardino County in California. At over 20,000 square miles, it's approximately 4 times the size of Northern Ireland and more than twice the size of Wales.
Jeez,
and it's not
man.
alone. San Bernardino County is one of 10 counties with a square mile area of 5 digits. Now, in both Britain and America, within your average county, you'll probably find a city or two, and it'll be of no surprise to you whatsoever that America's largest cities are larger than the UK's largest cities.
Yeah, this is something I've actually... cities larger than Suffolk. Wait, I'm from Norfolk, and Suffolk's just below Norfolk. And Suffolk's one of the... I think Suffolk's quite a big county. I don't actually know, maybe it's not quite a big county. Norfolk's a big county. Okay, this is going to be crazy, because I literally go through this county every time I go to like London and stuff. Which isn't very often, but I do. Oh my, this is going to be interesting then. It's such a random county to pick as well. But I'm interested in this because I feel like the general sort of size of cities will be bigger in the US because of like how much, like obviously like how much wider the roads are, how the cities are formed. But also I guess like it's sort of to scale, like the British cities are just smaller in general because it just sort of makes more sense. But at the same time, I guess they could be bigger because the population density, the population density is a lot higher. So maybe that would lead to cities being bigger. I know places like London will be the same size as all the other cities, I'm pretty sure. But like, and in some cases a lot bigger. But I don't know what places like Manchester or places like Birmingham, how that would compare in terms of size and like land mass.
In the UK, the largest city by total area
Landmass?
is comfortably London.
Land distance.
In fact, at 671 square miles, it is the 3rd largest in Europe. Now, it's important to remember that that's before we take into account the wider metropolitan area.
Yeah, there's
and
lots
indeed,
of
before we
connections.
do that, there are several cities in the United States that are considerably larger than 671 square miles.
What? Wait, what?
Surprisingly,
this is gonna blow
none
my
of these
mind.
go by the name of New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, though this changes somewhat when we do account for each city's metropolitan area. But again, before we do that, I've said do twice. The largest 4 places in America that you could reasonably define as a city are all located in Alaska. Anchorage, Juneau, Wrangell, and Sitka all measure well into the thousands of square miles.
Jeez.
Now again, it's super Alaska, everything is huge. So instead, let's take a look at the opposite end of the country down in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is surprisingly massive, owing partly to the fact that it consolidated with Duval County in 1968. Nonetheless, when you add up its water and land area, Jacksonville is the largest city in the lower 48. And at 874 square miles is larger than not just London, but half of the English counties. Now, if you take into account the metropolitan areas of both Jacksonville and London, Jacksonville marginally comes out on top.
Oh, mate.
And that's despite the fact, yes, I changed my shirt, and that's despite the fact that Jacksonville is significantly down the pecking order when it comes to America's largest metropolitan areas. In terms of square mileage, there are...
Okay, this is an awesome map. So one's New York. Wait, what ones can you not see? There's obviously Boston, which is 10. What else can't you see? The 38 one, which is Warwick, which is my dog's name, my dog that's died. Shout out to him. So that's 38. Then 47 is Orange, which would be Hartford. Green 50 is Buffalo, which I should have known that. Then New York, and then yeah, you'll know the rest. But bloody hell, this is a cool map.
Dozens across the country that outmatch it, but none more so.
Look here though. I know obviously this is a big sort of scale, but there's literally all these ones, but then there's massive space that here. Like, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 states that just don't have any. Like, it's weird how like some states are so highly populated and some states just the population. Obviously, this is in terms of big cities and all that kind of stuff. But some states are just so like sparsely populated. It's wild.
More so than the San Bernardino metropolitan area, otherwise known but none more so than the San Bernardino metropolitan area, otherwise known as the Inland Empire. The Riverside San Bernardino, Ontario metropolitan area covers more than 27,000 square miles, almost the total area of Scotland. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below.
Wait, is it San Bernardino City? Don't. Well, let me just hear what he said again to like actually fully understand what he's saying, because that sort of baffled me.
Otherwise known as the Inland, also than the square mileage, there are dozens comes to America's largest metropolitan areas. In terms of square mileage, there are dozens across the country that outmatch it, but none more so than the San Bernardino metropolitan area, otherwise known as the Inland Empire. The Riverside San Bernardino, Ontario metropolitan area covers more than 27,000 square miles, almost the total area of Scotland. That's it for this.
That is funny, man. That's kind of wild. Area 161 kilometers squared. It's an interesting looking city. It looks so like flat, but maybe that's because the mountains are so big next to it. Interesting video. I enjoyed this a lot. I love this sort of stuff, like the geography sort of aspect of it, and these comparison ones. This is sort of my cup of tea. I enjoy all the kinds of reactions, but when it comes to sort of comparisons and like geography mix of like all this random stuff, it is another level for me. It hits that spot, you know what I mean? 332 fun fact: Wyoming and Colorado are the same size geometrically speaking, 4 degrees tall and 7 degrees wide. But because Wyoming is entirely north of Colorado, the curvature of the Earth and resultant narrowing of the meridians toward the poles make Wyoming more than 6,000 square miles smaller. Have you ever considered a trip to Alaska? I would imagine that could be a whole host of videos. That'd be crazy, man. I remember driving to El Paso, Texas, and I could see it up ahead for over an hour. It was so flat and far away, it was an optical illusion that it was close. Yeah, that seems wild, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. If you want more reactions from him, you know how it always is, just suggest it in the comments. Or other reactions similar, just let me know, and I'll try and do so in the future. But until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.